Is Mo Bashir for the hook. Delighted to be joined by Tolis from TK Boxing. Tolis, firstly, thank you so much for your time. How are you?
I'm good, brother. Thank you so much for the invite. I haven't done it in a long time, so I'm excited.
Oh, of course, thank you. So let's start from the beginning. I read that you first went into the boxing gym at 5 years of age. You are Greek Albanian.
So I am born in Albania. My parents are Albanian, and
Okay.
when I was a baby, my whole family moved in Greece. So I grew up in Greece. We were immigrants and I basically grew up in Greece. But I can speak both languages, and I consider myself Greek Albanian.
Okay, nice. So you went into the boxing gym at 5 years of age. Just was
So
boxing a big part of your?
my story was like I was when I was like I don't know a boy like 5 years old. I was in the school and I was crying a lot. I was crying all the time. So my dad, as a traditional Albanian, he said, "All right, you're not gonna cry never again." And he just took me in, not in a boxing gym. He took me in a taekwondo. So I started with taekwondo when I was 5 years old until 11. So since he took me when I was 5 years old, and the very next day, I went to the school and I was start fighting with the kids. Yeah, but I transitioned in boxing when I was about 11
Okay.
because Taekwondo, I think, is a great sport to start the kid because there is not too much violence, but you still get the discipline and everything you need as a little boy. But if we want to be honest, if you want like a more, if you want to call it more serious martial art, you need more striking, more boxing or kickboxing, something similar.
Hmm. Okay. So you get into the boxing gym, you're 11, 12 years of age, you've done the taekwondo. Um, I guess when did you realize that you wanted to take it seriously? Because I guess when everyone starts out, it's, maybe you do it because you want to be fitter or you want to, be able to defend yourself. When did you realize you wanted to do it seriously?
I was liking to fight anyways. I like to fight. Like I was not a very like quiet kid, like plus when you I don't know how old are you, but I'm 35. When I grew up, like we were different. We were not staying home and playing on the computers. We were going out and like getting in trouble and fighting with other neighbors and stuff like that. So I was very much into that life, and so for me, fighting wasn't something new. Like I just like to fight, but I realized that I wanted to do it more professional when I realized that there were levels in that. And
Mm,
so basically, this is what happened. When I was 11 years old, I transitioned from Taekwondo to kickboxing. So from 11 until 17 years old, I was doing kickboxing. And when I was 18, I basically started boxing. But what happened is when I went to the boxing gym, I thought that I was really good until the coach by that time, he put me with a young kid, 12 years old, and he beat my ass because I didn't know how to box proper. So then I got very frustrated. I'm like, man, you just have to learn this thing to do it properly. And since then, I just I took it very seriously. I'm very competitive as a person, and I don't know what made me try to compete and take it seriously, but I guess whatever you do, if you decide to do it, you have to do it right. So I just got into the fighting, actual fighting, competing.
okay. And then amateur, your amateur
I
record, how?
didn't fight pro. I fought amateur. I got one time. I got the first place in the Greek Championship. The other year, I got the second place in the Greek Championship. Uh, if I want to be honest, I wasn't like the most technical and the most skillful fighter. But one thing that I had it was that I didn't care. I could fight anybody anytime. I would spar anybody anytime. Like even if I wasn't doing good, like I would go next day in the gym and I would spar the same guy, no problem. So I just didn't care. So yeah, I was very competitive in that way.
Okay. And then I think 2020 hits, COVID, you get into starting a business because you were going into professional fight and then you had something wrong with your eye that you failed some medical tests.
So in 2000, I'm gonna take you a little bit back. In 2017 is when I came from Greece in USA.
Okay.
So by that time is when I came from Greece in USA, and I basically, I will tell you, but I didn't have money. I didn't know anybody in US. I wasn't speaking English. I just came straight to fight, and my main goal was to compete professional in US. Actually, I wasn't trying to be a world champion. I was already 26 years old, but my dream was just to compete in USA. And I ended up finding a team. They make me sign a contract to fight with. Do you remember the fighter Tim Bradley?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Fought
remember.
with Pacquiao. So with one of his fighters, so I signed the contract, and the only thing that I had to do is the medical check, and after a month I had the fight. So when I did the medicals, they found out that I have an issue with my eyes, which actually it wasn't from fighting; it was more genetic. But they found and they told me that, man, you just we can't allow you. And as you know, in US, like it's nothing you can do. Like if they say no, it's kind of no. So I was extremely disappointed because my dream it was just to fight. It wasn't to be a world champion. I knew where I was and what level I was. So I was very disappointed, but like you just have to switch things up, and that's how I switch it up, and from try to compete, I will start coaching people. So I was trying to make money. So I will start coaching people, and at the same time, I used to work in restaurants. I used to work
Okay.
in a Greek restaurant in Century City. That's the area. And then I decided that I just didn't want to work in restaurants anymore. I wasn't made to do nightlife, like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, and then 5, 6 a.m. in the morning I had to wake up and train clients. So it was it wasn't, how can I put this right? It wasn't the my dream why I came in US for, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I
yeah, I understand.
decided to, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, sorry, who's this? So you moved to the US. You say you have no money. Like, who's who's pushing you to move? Is this coming for yourself? Is your father playing a role? Like, and how did the US journey sort of come about?
Financially, you mean? Who was helping me?
Yeah, so like you moved from Greece to the US. Like, whose decision was it to move from
No, my
Greece to the
decision.
US?
No, 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 no. I live by myself since 16 years old, so I'm very independent.
Ah,
I love my
yeah,
family. I'm all day. I'm calling them every day, but I'm very
yeah,
independent. And when I when I decide to do something, I'm ready
yeah,
to go. And it was my decision, and the thing is that I have this thing in my mind that I always say that, we have one life, and, like if you have something in your mind, just do it, because you're not going to have a second chance. Like you will never be 26 years old again. You will never get the time that you are losing. So I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, that is one place that everybody's talking about boxing, and that's USA. Plus, to be honest with you, it wasn't only the boxing. Boxing was my main reason, but it was always that hype with USA. USA is the best country in the world, biggest opportunities, and all of this stuff. So for me, it was like, you need to go and see what is this place about. So that's how I decided to come. And no, bro, I just came by myself. No money, no English. I didn't know nobody. But I was young. I was ambitious. So for me, what I believe is this: that I know I'm sorry, I'm going all over, but I
that's okay.
believe that if you have a place to sleep and food to eat, you can do everything. That's like that's the very base. You can do everything.
Okay, okay. And you say you're 16, you're living by yourself. Was that your decision?
Yeah, because I wanted to be independent, because I wanted to,
Okay.
when I will be 26 years old and I will decide to make big moves in my life, I wanted to be prepared. You know, a lot of people, they
Mm,
start their lives on 26, 27, they're getting out of the houses and they just have no idea how this world works. You know what I mean? But for me, it was like, man, I just have to get out of my house so I can start living and see how it is. So when I will be 25, 26, and I want to make bigger decisions, I will be ready, you know. Now, don't ask me
mm,
how I got that. I don't know, but I was, maybe one of the reasons I never said that public is because I was fighting a lot with my dad. And now, I love my dad, right? He loves me too. But I think that when you are two strong head in the same house, I don't know
yeah,
how
yeah,
you are with your dad, but like most of the males, when you know you are in the same house and your dad is strong head too, is every day something. So for me, it's like, bro, I just have to get out of the house. You know, I love you, but I have to get out of the house.
yeah. I think it's that testosterone, isn't it? Like you're
It
16,
is,
you
but
have
also if you are Albanian, it's even worse.
really.
Albanians are, yeah,
Yeah, I went to Albania.
no way.
Yeah, I went to Tirana in 2024.
Oh wow, what made you go there?
I went with it was with uni. It was a really good experience. Loved it.
Nice,
It was
nice. You
cheap.
had a good
It
time.
was awesome. Yeah, it was great. It was great. The people
Good.
nice, weather nice, it's cheap. Yeah, it was lovely. I enjoyed it. Okay, so you're in the US, you're doing, you're training, you're working. What's the end goal? Like, what are your dreams? Is it to make a lot of money or is it to become world champion?
You know what? That's a good question because my goals is changing. When I was younger, I was like, I want to make a lot of money and I want to, you know, I want to be successful and I want to like, you know, all of these big and cool things. Still my goal is to make a lot of money and be successful, but for different reasons, because I want to have a comfortable life and I want my family, when I will have a family, to have a comfortable life, and with this money try to help more people. So just be a better human, you know, not just make money just to spend it in nonsense things. But yeah, to answer your question is to try to make it, let's put it this way, try to make it and provide a better life for myself and for my family.
You know, when you obviously you were going to the like, I guess it was that dream that kept you going, right? Because you were doing the amateur boxing, you were then working in a Greek restaurant. I guess you're just, and no doubt you're tired, right? Because you're on your feet all day in a restaurant. Then you have to go to the boxing gym. Then you have to go running. Then you have to do everything else. I guess it's just that single focus.
The fact for me that I came from a small village in Greece and now I'm living in Los Angeles with all of these like cool things that's happening, excuse me, for me it was already a blessing. I wasn't getting tired because I already live my dream. You know what I mean? I'm already like living Hollywood Boulevard with, you know, like all of these cool people. And so regardless of how much I was working and all of the difficulties that I have by that time, the fact that I was able to be in Los Angeles and have make a living here, it was already, you know, like I couldn't get tired. I would just keep going for no problem, you know. Because for
Okay,
other
let's.
people, it's a blessing just even being here, you know.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. Okay, so you're told that you can't go ahead with your professional career because of the doctors found with your eye. Then what happens? How are you feeling?
So then I was very disappointed. I'm not gonna lie again because I wasn't trying to be a world champion, but I did want to compete. But then you just have to like move forward. So for the first 2 years, I wasn't good, man. I was like lacking in my workout. I was eating a lot and start drinking. I was never alcoholic, but like when you try to compete, when you are a fighter, you make a lot of sacrifices. So your diet should be on point, not drinking, not going out. And when they told me, man, you can fight, then I was like, okay, let's enjoy life a little bit. But so for the next 2 years, I wasn't really having a good life. I was eating whatever, drinking. So I was a little bit all over. But when I realized that you can't be like that for the rest of your life, like then I switched it up again. I put my things together and I will start working out. Anyway, so like I was training people and I was trying to make a living basically.
Hmm. Okay. And outside of the boxing gym, did you have any other interests? Like, obviously, you started your business now, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But like, were you reading? Was there any other things that was occupying? Because I guess you get a bit of free time, or was it literally just a single focus?
Do you know what? I was always trying to find what's going to be the next thing for me. For me, my priority by that time, after they told me that I can fight, is to start coaching people and make as much money as possible, make a living basically. So for me, it was my vision by that time was coach people, open your own gym, and basically roll like that. Just have your own gym. Uh, but I'm sorry, what was the first question? I,
I guess were there any like interests outside of boxing that you had?
yeah, so, uh, bro, no, my whole life, I was so locked in boxing. But that's the thing, though. I was locked in boxing, but from boxing, I met a lot of cool people that they do different activities, which I am always open in new opportunities. You
Mm,
know what I mean? For example, I coach somebody that he might have real estate, and then he's like, Tolis, that's what I do. Are you interested? And then I'm not saying that it happened, but I do have clients that they are in real estate, and so I'm always open in new opportunities. But boxing is my main thing, and through boxing, I have my eyes open, and whatever else it comes, I am open to new opportunities. But again, as I keep saying, boxing is my main thing because also in my opinion, I think you should stay focused in one thing. When you are a little bit all over, you are a little bit average in everywhere, and you're not perfect in your craft. That's what I'm realizing.
do you think like it's quite interesting you say that because I've spoken to like coaches and they say you need to I mean they've said in a couple of interviews about fighters that they need to have one eye upon what they're going to do after they finish boxing because it's a short career, right? At 33, 34. Maybe some fighters are going on a bit longer, just Wilder, they were in their 40s, but I guess the average age is around 30, 32, and then you still have 30 years of your life. So I guess there's a balance there between focusing on doing boxing and then having other passions, but also being dedicated to boxing to get the best out of it.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard. It's hard because the the reality is that not every boxer makes it. Like I would say 90% of 90, maybe 95, maybe even more than 95. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I would say 95% of the boxers, they need to have a second job. You know what I mean? The only 5% can make the money that can make a living and also can save for the future. I have fighters that they fought in Madison Square Garden and they have a second job to make a living. So you you have it's a little bit complicated because when you are a fighter and you want to make it, you are like, you know what, I will focus only in boxing and for the next 5, 6, 7 years, and let's see what's gonna happen. But focusing only in boxing, maybe you're not gonna make it, and also you have a brain damage, and also you have no other skills, and then by 30, 35, you know, you stop competing with having zero money and no skills and nothing else to do, which is kind of sad. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, we all choose what we want to do in this life, and this the that's the, how can I say it right? Those are the results that you get from this sport, you know. So to answer your question, I don't know, like having a financial advisor, if you're not one of the top guys, it's not gonna happen. So I don't know, man. Like, okay, let me be realistic with that. I think you as a fighter, you need to be honest sometimes and realistic with yourself. Like, am I have a potential to be a world champion? Do I have potentials to get a big fight? Do I have potentials to make good money? If I don't have these potentials, do I still want to compete in the highest level and spar, have hard sparring 3-4 times in a week and fight with 8-10 ounces gloves and get beat up and have a brain damage? Do I want to go through this thing? You know what I mean? Because if you don't really think that you can get to that level, maybe it's smart to get a job. You know what I mean? But also, it's hard to say to a fighter, stop fighting. I wasn't even trying to be a world champion. I wasn't even trying to fight for a belt. I was just fighting for fun. And you had to pull me to get me out of the gym sparring. I could be in sparring and fighting all day. So it's kind of tricky, you know what I mean? I didn't give you a clean answer, but like it's that the love that we have for the sport that like we are like, fuck it, it is what it is. I'm going all in, you know, and like if I make it, I make it. If no, it's your decision.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Good answer. Lockdown hits. It's 2020. You know, you're working, you're training people. Uh, CK boxing starts. Like, how do you, how does that happen? Where did the idea come from?
All right, so basically in 2020, I used to train a lot of people. I was started getting very busy with private sessions with coaching people how to box. And by that time, I stopped working in the restaurants. And you know, COVID happened, and a lot of people, a lot of most of the gyms that were closed by that time. So I got extremely busy with private sessions with boxing. And in my mind, I always wanted to be involved in boxing, but I wanted to do different things also inside the boxing. And this is what happened. That's very interesting. That I was start getting unemployment money from you know, because of COVID, and it was the first time in my life that I was having, I don't know, $5,000 in my bank account or $10,000, you know, because I was doing private sessions and at the same time I was making money from you know, for COVID. And I was like, okay, man, it's the first time you start making this kind of money, which somebody else might be okay, that's nothing, you know, but for me it was a lot of money by that time. And I was like, try to invest proper, try to get a business. And since I was having a lot of privates, everybody was asking me for boxing gloves. Everybody was saying, Tolis, okay, we need to train with you, and we need boxing gloves. So I was like, all right, why I don't create a business that I sell boxing gloves? You know what I mean? Instead of buying from other companies, just you you got some money now and you have the opportunity to create a business. So that's how I started TK. I started TK basically with unemployment funds from you know, from COVID.
And was there anything different about these gloves? How come people were asking for boxing gloves from you specifically? Because
Oh, that's a
there's
good
brands
question
out there,
because
right?
yeah, well, when I started the brand, I had no idea what I was doing. You know, I just got my first sample of boxing gloves, and I ordered. I remember I ordered 30 pairs of boxing gloves, and then I will start giving those gloves to all of my friends that they are fighters. And I remember, like now, I gave one of my best friends. His name is Andreas Kajurakis. He's top 10 in the world right now, 154 pounds. And I gave him a pair of gloves, and I said, "Hey, bro, that's on me." I said, "What do you think about the glove?" And he said, "Bro, he's trash." I'm like, "Fuck." I said, "Fuck, we have a lot of work to do here, you know." But he gave me the reality check because since then I was like, "Oh man." we need to put a lot of work on the gloves, because it's not just you make a pair of boxing gloves. Like, there is so many details, so many science how to make a glove perfect and how to separate from everybody else, So that took a lot of time for me to start understanding how to create a good product and how to make a perfect boxing glove. But to answer your question, uh, how we separate from everybody else, we just know what people need, and we have every single glove for every single purpose. So we are not trying to sell a glove just to make some money. We will sell the glove that you will need for the right purpose.
Okay, interesting. Um, and okay, so so when you get the samples from you get those 30 pairs, he tests it and he's like they're trash. Like what was trash about it and how did you go about
It
repairing it?
was a very average glove. It was a very, very average glove. That there was nothing special about the glove, and especially when you give gloves to the fighters, you want to make sure that the glove is perfect, because
Yeah.
their hand their hands is their money. So you want to make sure that you provide the best quality, that the foam is good, the knuckle shape is as supposed to be, good wrist protection, can last long. Like, it's a lot of small details, which, especially when you want to get involved in the fighting part of the boxing, your gloves should not be an average pair, should be like the best of the best. Otherwise, you might give free gloves to the fighters and they will not even use it if it's not good. You know what I mean? They will
Interesting.
say, thank you, bro, but like, that's not for me. So you need
Okay.
to scale your game by far if you really want to have fighters put in your gear.
Okay. And what makes a good boxing glove?
That's a good question. I mean, it depends on the purpose. Again, like,
Yeah.
it can vary. Like, a lot of boxing gloves, like, if you are a beginner, you need a boxing glove that has a lot of padding and you have a lot of protection in your hands. If you are a professional fighter, you still need the protection, but also you need the foam to be softer so you can understand, you can have a good feedback from the glove. You need good wrist support. Now we have another pair of gloves which is super, super thin. I don't know if you ever heard about those. They call them bag mates. They are extremely
Bag
thin.
mates, yeah.
And these kind of gloves are so you can, like, uh, work slowly on the back and perfect your technique. So there is a lot of variants on how variant, that's the right word. I'm sorry, I'm still working
It's
on my
okay.
English.
Your
Uh,
English is good.
Thank you. So it's a lot of, like, variant what makes a good boxing glove, but it's depends on what level you are and depends on how much money you want to spend. But again, every single boxing glove should have some basic stuff like good wrist protection, good knuckle protection, and to last, like, at least a year, basically.
Awesome. And what one of the things that like people might not get, and obviously you would obviously know, is that there is a big difference between using gloves in the gym on the bags versus when they're in the ring and having an actual fight. Obviously, the gloves are weigh a lot less. Do you mind just going through like the key differences?
Yes, of course. So in sparring, I will talk specifically for sparring, because if you want to punch the bag, you can punch it with any kind of glove. It doesn't really matter. But if you want to talk about sparring, you want to spar either with 14 ounces thick padding or 16 ounces. Now the heavyweights are sparring with 18 ounces because they are big guys. So the purpose of sparring with big gloves is so you can protect your hands and you're not going to get injured uh, for your fight. And also you can protect your opponent, because the sparring is a school, is a lesson. You're not trying to kill each other. Now in the fighting, you fight with 8 ounces or 10 ounces, which, if you see those gloves, are like ridiculous small. You are like, there's no way this guy's gonna fight this glove. Like, you can literally kill somebody. But like, you train with big gloves, and the fight is strictly a business. So that's why they fight with smaller gloves. And basically, the big guys like 154 and up, they fight one. I'm sorry, 147 pounds and up, they are fighting with 10 ounces, and 147 and down, they fight with 8 ounces. So the difference basically is the size of the glove. And there is another key factor that in the professional fighting, in the fights, you can fight with padding, which is like thick padding, or you can fight with horsehair gloves. The horsehair is very much softer, and they are meant to be like for, they call it, they're meant to be for knockouts because they are super soft, the horsehair gloves. But basically you can mess up your hands punch you with horsehair because they are too soft, you know. But the main difference is that the sparring gloves are for protection and the fighting gloves are for business.
Interesting. And I guess you said like obviously how thin the gloves are. How important is the wrapping of the hands before the fight? If you have a bad hand wrap and you have those
Yeah,
like light gloves, it must
yeah,
be.
yeah, it's extremely important. That's why you see like most of the fighters, they have professional cutmans wrapping their hands before their fight, and a lot of them even before sparring. Like you see a lot of professional fighters, even in their sparring, they have their either their trainer or their cutman to wrap their hands, you know, because one thing you need to protect as a professional fighter is your hands, and you know you don't want to play with that.
Okay, interesting. Now let's go back to okay, so you get the gloves from this fight. You said the average, and then I guess you go back and you go to the manufacturers and you get ones that are better. And you keep evolving, you keep going, you keep testing and trying. When was the point where you found okay, like we're getting somewhere?
When's the point that we getting somewhere?
Yeah, like that you are confident that this will work.
Good question. I'm still getting somewhere. I'm still working on it. And the reason that I say that is because I try to create TK Boxing to be the best boxing gear brand in the world. And the reason that I say that is I can never be satisfied with my product. Like whatever adjustments I make, whatever it doesn't matter how good are our gloves, I will always find something to try to improve. Now, to answer your question, uh, I don't know. I can't really answer your question because I'm keep improving the products. You know,
Okay.
obviously we have gloves for all levels. We have gloves for beginners, for somebody that just wants something better, for professional fighters. But there is always something that needs to be improved in the gloves and in the gear.
But I guess like there must have been a point where okay, your sales are like 1 month they're I don't know maybe a bit lower, and then the next month they're really high. So what was that point where I guess like you could make a successful business, if you get what I mean?
On the, you mean on the sales aspect when I
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
satisfied with my business? I mean, okay, I will be honest with that. In the first few years, listen, we are 6 years. In the first 4.5 years, I was breaking even. Like the money
Okay.
that I was making, I would still have to coach people in order to pay my rent. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like it's not like sometimes you think that you open a business and next thing you know it's like you are rich, but it's not like that. And especially when you come with a background like me, I didn't even know how to open my laptop. I'm still trying to figure out. You know what I mean? So in order for me to start learning how to do Excel sheets and how to work on the computer and how to run an actual business, how to do accounting and how to like learn marketing, all of this stuff, it takes a lot of time, you know. At the same time, you have to learn the business aspect, and you need to focus on your actual product, which is, you know, like you want to make customers satisfied. So it's a lot of moving parts having a business. And I would say the last year and a half is when the business starts actually having profit. But also I had to do a lot of adjustments for me in order to business start having a profit, and focus in what I think that is more important, you know, because one of the mistakes that I did when I started the brand is that I was a little bit all over. So I bought boxing gloves, and then I bought hoodies. I made boxing shoes. I made boxing bags, and everything was average. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Focus in one thing, be good in that, and then focus in the other thing, because I didn't have the budget to keep investing in every single item until it becomes good. So now what I'm doing is I I make my business not smaller, but I'm compacting the business. I focus on what is important, and I make sure that whatever we're selling is top quality and we provide the best customer service. You know what I mean? So now is where I start focus more on the important things, and I start having a return of investment for my business.
You know, those 4.5 years, it's interesting. You said that you were still working and coaching. Were there any points that you remember that you want to talk about where, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore?
No, no, no. I'm very ambitious, and for me, it's like how can I say it right? I know fighters say that, but like, okay, let me put it this way: I can accept as Tolis that another man can run a business similar to mine, and I am not capable to do it. You
Mm,
know what I mean? I can't think that, oh, wait, this guy, he can run a business. This guy, he can run a business. But I can't, because why? Because I wasn't disciplined enough to read more and learn more about my business and be the best of it. You know what I mean? So I can't accept it with myself. Even when I had a lot of difficulties, I was always saying that get your shit together and learn how to do that, because like there is no plan B. There is no like, okay, we're going back and we're working the restaurants. I like, if I get at the point for me to not be successful on my business, I'm packing my things and I'm going back in Greece. We have beautiful life right there. You know what I mean? So there is no, there is, there was no times, that I, excuse me, that I thought to quit.
interesting. And in those, sorry, I have a lot of questions. In those like 4.5, so you said you've been doing it 6 years. When you first entered the boxing space and the gloves, etc., was there anything that surprised you about the whole industry?
Not really, because I was so passionate about the industry, and I didn't have any expectations. It's not like I
Mm,
was expecting, I was expecting something to happen, and I was like, dude, you know how I started the business? One day I was sitting on the computer and I was chilling at the gym, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm starting a business. And then I immediately emailed the first logo company that I found on Google, and I said, "Hey, I want Tolis Keivani a logo, basically my name." The first logo that they sent me is the logo that we still have, excuse me, until this day. So for me, I just start everything so quick. I didn't have any expectations. I was like, "Okay, we coming." So I didn't know what to expect. So, uh, well, I guess my expectations was to make more money, like faster, like everybody thinks, but it didn't happen. I'm sorry, my voice, I don't know what happened.
oh, it's okay. It's okay, bro. I love that. I love when you said that when you had an idea, you executed it because I feel like a lot of people, and I've been guilty of it myself, is that you have an idea and you almost think about it too much that you don't do it.
No, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, now is, and I think it's important to just start and just
No,
see
just
where
take
you end
action,
up.
take action,
Yeah,
because
I agree.
if you start thinking about the problems, oh man, like there's so many problems, like you will never start. So that's me in my life in general. I left from my house when I was 16. I said to my parents, I gotta go. When I was 26, I jumped in the aeroplane, no money, like nothing, no English. When they told me that I can fight, I decided to start my own business. Think about what, like we have one life. Nobody cares. Literally, nobody cares. But like if you will make it or if you will not make it, or like if you will be successful, or nobody cares. You just start it and you figure it out. But the thing is, like, you need to want it. You know what I mean? You need to want it. And another thing is that I'm very blessed because I am in the area that I want to be. I am in boxing, which I love to be. You know, if I would have done something else, maybe I wouldn't be so motivated, and I wouldn't say I would quit, but I would be disappointed with myself that I chose that area that I just don't want to be, you know. But imagine having a life that you do something that you don't like. It's fucking miserable, man. You know what I mean? Like, why? Like, we're not gonna live until 300 years old. So I know I'm being dramatic, but that's how it is. Like, fucking just go and do it, you know.
What's next for the brand? What can we expect?
Next for the brand is listen, we keep scaling every year. We keep scaling. We've been a little bit quiet the last year, to be honest, because I had to take a step back on the business, and I had, as I mentioned before, I had to restructure a lot of things, be more sustainable, and make the business more stable. Uh, and Now we are at the point that, you know, like we will, as we were already, we will take over the boxing industry. You know, I'm not saying that a lot, but we are about to be the best boxing gear brand in the world. We are about to take over the whole industry. We are already up there. And just so you know, we spend zero money on marketing. So whatever the brand is doing is organic because, you know, we are in boxing industry, fighters like us. I have good relationship with people, with coaches. We are honest, and that's the future of the brand. We're taking over the boxing gear industry, but we're not doing it just for me. Like, we want to build a community with fighters, that we can support the fighters, we can support whoever needs support in you know, like in the boxing industry. And we are here to stay. You know, I didn't start a brand just to make some quick money. We are here for we are the next Everlast, not that.
Mm, okay. And you said you spend zero money on marketing. Who are the fighters that you work with now, and are you looking to add to that?
You know, the funny part is that because I am in Los Angeles, and basically 2-3 miles around my house, I have the best boxing gyms in LA, and maybe some of the best in the world, you know, like, and I know a lot of fighters personally, a lot of coaches, a lot of managers. I can just walk in a gym and I can see Bivol, I can see like Garcia, I can see Haney, and it's like 5 minutes from my house, you know. So I see this kind of guys like daily. For example, I will never forget, but like 4 years ago, do you remember when Bivol fought with Canelo?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Bivol won that fight, and after 1 week, I was in Churchill Boxing. That's the name of the gym in Santa Monica. So I went there to give some gloves to the fighters. Next thing I see is Bivol is opening the door, and I'm like, no way, that's Bivol. And I had one extra pair of our Gladiator bag mitts on my car, and immediately as I see him, I was visualizing, what about if I give him a glove? What about if he wears the gloves? What about if he posts the glove? I'm like, that's crazy, bro. And guess what? Everything happened. I asked for his manager. I said, hey, can I give him a pair? He said, yes. Bivol, he showed the glove. He's like, oh, that looks good. I like it. So he put it in his hand. And what he did, he took off the glove and he threw it on his back. I'm like, fuck, man, like he's not gonna use it. After 5 minutes, I see Bivol putting the gloves back and having the professional cameramans like recording him doing, like, you know, backmate, doing the double-ended bag with my gloves. And then I'm like, that is crazy, bro. So then I went there and I said, hey guys, can I make a quick video? And they said yes. But that's the crazy part. Next day I woke up and I see Bivol himself. He posted the glove. He posted the video using my glove on his page. I'm like, that is crazy, bro. You know what I mean? So I have a lot of. I am very fortunate living in LA and having, a lot of elite fighters using my gloves. I am very blessed because one of my best friends, as I told you before, his name is Andreas Katsurakis. Now he signed up with Zuffa Boxing. He's fighting in 4 weeks. He's using my gloves all the time, and all of the fighters in his gym, he's using my gloves. And I am very blessed of having this kind of fighters using my gloves, because also they are giving me real feedback about the gloves. They will never tell me, oh, they are good because they want me to make me feel good. They will say, if they're not good, they will be like, bro, you gotta fix that. We're not gonna use this. So they make me that's good for me because I want honest feedback. That's how can we scale.
Awesome, awesome. We don't have much time, so just quickly, where can people find you on social media? We'll make sure to link it in the description below.
All right, so you guys can find us on Instagram, on TikTok is TK Boxing Gear, and I mean it's pretty easy to find us. I don't think there's another TK Boxing Gear. Also, my personal account is Tolis K Vani. If anyone wants to reach out for anything private for boxing, and I had the blessing, and I wish you good luck, with
Thank
moving
you.
forward with the podcast.